Hey guys, I wanted to do a sort of quick video going over some things I noticed in the Starfield Direct, the 45-minute one, and I think like one clip from the 15-minute one like from a year ago. So I haven't watched or read anything about the stuff at all. It's all just my observation. I kind of didn't want to watch anything like that to not be swayed into thinking some other way. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So, yeah, we're going over the 45-minute long Starfield video mostly. And we'll just start with my notes here. And yeah, this isn't scripted. I have some notes of things I noticed, so yeah, we'll just go through it. So right here you can see the players walking forward with their mining tool thing out. They're walking forward and then they begin firing. It kind of looks like the walking animation and the firing animation are being blended together, maybe. The firing animation is one thing, and then there's like it feels like there's some extra sway in the overall feel of the walking that suddenly kind of stops when the player stops walking. So in Fallout 4, it's either one or the other that plays. They don't blend together at all. I thought that was interesting. And then this next clip, this sprint FOV change. That's pretty big in Fallout 4, obviously. But it seems to be pretty mild, actually, in this game. I thought that might have been something of interest to note about. I thought this was really cool. There's you can do a slide thing, kind of like in Modern Warfare or Apex Legends. You do a slide on, I guess, your knees, like a rock star, I guess. Yeah, when you do that, the gun also sways. It has its unique animation. Or it could just be a generic animation that plays with all the guns that have the same pose, pretty much. I thought it was worth noting on because that was cool. It's those kind of movement mechanics that makes games really fun. So, next on the list is partial reload. This was really cool to see. A year ago, they had a 15-minute long Starfield video. Here's that clip. You can see the P90-like weapon has a reload, and at the end, even though you can see in the bottom corner, the P90 isn't empty, it does the full animation. They kind of smack the side of the gun with their left hand for presumably to, I guess, rack it, I guess, but I don't even know the proper terminology for that. But and then in this new clip from the 45-minute direct, partial reload, it's not playing the whole animation. So either they cleaned up that animation and got rid of that part, or they've implemented partial reload. Unfortunately, they don't have a shot of this gun being fully emptied and then reloaded. So I like to think there's the two reloads because that's really cool. And on that same sort of topic, it seems like every gun only has the one main animation for reloading, whereas a game like Cyberpunk will have several animations for reloading a gun. Next, there doesn't appear to be any physics on weapons, so you can see again on the P90, it has this little keychain doodad there. However, in this clip, when they're dropping down, because they just jetpacked up, when they drop down, that little keyring isn't, showing any signs of physics there. So it seems to be just visually, my observation says that it's being faked. That's how I did it in the select shotgun. You have a little dangly bit on the shotgun, and it's just fully animated. But note that when you're falling with my gun, it does fake that sort of physics. But yeah. Another example was that when you're putting a gun up against the wall, in Fallout 4, it's the same way. It's overlaying the first person, onto the image, I guess. It's hard to say. I'm not an expert in any of this, so whatever. But I thought it was interesting. They're still going through with the Obviously, if you got this close to a wall with a gun, it would start clipping into the wall. However, with how the creation engine works, it doesn't. The world and what the player's doing are independent. They're separate. It's just overlaid on top of the world. So there's no clipping there in first person. So moving along to something a little bit different. There's these, generic chair animations, but there's many of them. And I think that's pretty cool. In this particular scene, there's people sitting at the table, and there's one guy leaning on top of this really tall chair. I think that's just looks really cool. And then you see, I believe that guy's name is Vlad in the middle. He's not using the armrests at all. He's keeping his arms to himself. It'd be cool if NPCs made use of the armchair or whatever. But then in this next shot, there's many different chairs styles going on here, different flavors. Like leaning on the table or just sitting normally. Just more an interaction with the world is always really neat to look at, and something that really brings it all to life. So that's pretty cool. In this next clip over here, so when you're going to aim, it looks like there might be an animation dedicated to transitioning to that animation. So in Fallout 4, you have your idle pose, your idle, you're sitting there animation, and then you have your aiming animation. There is no animation between the two. Instead, it just blends over to the other one. The way how the gun moves back and then upwards into position, it's not very linear. And it kind of makes me think maybe there's some transition animations. So I thought that was of noting. So moving along. The scopes. Yeah, there's still no see-through scopes. They're going with the, you're looking through a scope. Everything else is all around is just darkness. So I'll be looking forward to see-through scopes in that one there, for a mod. In this shot, something cool was footsteps kicking up snow, and whatever sort of. I just hit the microphone. Sorry. But yeah, kicking up snow. That was cool. Next is, they're on the ship. NPCs or your crew are sandboxing around the ship, and you have the classic NPC twisting a bolt with a wrench that isn't actually there. So, classic. You love to see it. In this next shot, you'll see the players walking through the ship, and Sarah, I believe her name is. They mention her later, or somewhere else. She does this whole much more obvious body tracking onto the player. In Fallout 4, for the most part, in any example I can think of, it's just the head and neck that track someone walking by them. In this, it's a lot more of the spine is moving with it, and I thought that was pretty cool and worth noting. Another one was, this idle third person seems to have trigger discipline. I thought that was really cool. That's not amazingly groundbreaking or anything. You could do that in Fallout 4. It just never really occurred to me to do that. You kind of just figured finger on the trigger, ready at a moment's notice. But yeah, it's given me thought. Maybe I should do that in the future. And then, yeah. So another thing I noticed was when they're firing the weapon, when it goes from idle to firing, it's instantaneous. A problem I have with Fallout 4 is that the idle and then your firing animation, when you fire the gun, generally it's going to be, the whole gun, it jerks back really fast and it moves around, and then you're like, you gain control of it and you're firing. In Fallout 4, it does this blending. It's very short, but it's very noticeable when you're really trying to give a gun some real oomph to it, it does this mild blending that really softens the punch of the animation being played. And it feels like in this in Starfield, there is no blending. As soon as you start shooting, it looks like it just jumps right into it. Or they shortened up that blending there. I don't really blame them in Fallout 4 because you blend animations so that they transition smoother. But this is one of those cases where you don't want it to transition. You want it to just straight boom, jump right into it instantaneously. So I thought that was really cool. I saw the settlement objects it does like object culling, like in Fallout 76. Fallout 76 didn't. I just hit the microphone again. Wow. I'm doing this all in one take, by the way. The settlement object culling works like 76, and 76 didn't actually come out of the gate with this feature where you'd put down an object and it would remove the rocks or shrubs or whatever. That's something I know everyone would love to have in Fallout 4, but I'm not sure that's been done as a mod. But I also don't think it really can be done. I don't know. But as you can see, they did it in 76, and it's tier 2. That's really cool. It's so you don't get prevented from being able to put an object in one spot. Yeah. Then over here, this is what I mentioned before. They have the gun up by their head, and then they come around the corner and they start actually holding it correctly. That looks like it's just the animation that plays when the player's too close to a wall. In this case, this animation tells it to be up here, facing upwards. I thought that was interesting. An interesting choice for sure. But it's all simulated. So in this next clip, you have this giant MGL-like weapon. And it has a rotating cylinder. What I noticed pretty quickly was that, and here I'll play the video in slow motion. When you go to reload, the cylinder rotates whatever degrees, like 40 or 45 degrees or something, depending on the amount of rounds it has to fire. It'll rotate and then it'll snap backwards. It'll rotate it'll rotate clockwise for the reload. Or I guess not necessarily the reload, but the bolt action as it is in Fallout 4. It's a flag, but it then snaps back into position, which is a very cheap way of doing it. It fakes the rotation of the cylinder. It does rotate it, but then it snaps it back to where it was before. And that's just to, like, I guess, save time and effort, really. The game isn't keeping track of the position of the cylinder. Instead, it just plays this quick little animation and then snaps it back. And it's not like that's impossible to do. It's actually not. We did it with the Lewis gun. The pan magazine rotates while you're firing. When you stop firing, it saves that position. That is hard to do. iCode is the master behind that one. But it's definitely doable. I wish we would see Bethesda doing that with, these, states of the weapon during its firing. So I wish we could see them do that, but it looks like they're just doing the quick and easy method of just snap it back. And that's how the revolver works in Fallout 4. When you fire it, the cylinder rotates and then it snaps back. If you pay attention to it, you might notice it. And then in this final video clip here, we have the infamous clip to hand in gun. Very unfortunate, but it's gonna happen. It's not the first time or the last time we'll ever see that, including for mods of my own. So that's gonna happen. but it does demonstrate rifle poses, I'd say. You have, whether it's playing the wrong animation for a different gun, or if it's just because the gun has a foregrip on it or various other attachments, it's just playing the wrong animation for, that animation set. But yeah, that one was unfortunate. So, and I think that's pretty much everything I've noticed that was worth mentioning to me, at least. I kind of just want to stick to everything animation related. The deep dives that Juicehead is putting together, or anyone else, they're going to talk more about breaking down literally every little thing on the video. I just wanted to focus on that in the stuff I noticed. So I perused through it, took some notes, and put it all here for you guys. So I don't know if I'll do another Starfield video. I just wanted to do this breakdown of it. I am excited for Starfield. I cannot wait to play that game. It's going to be pretty incredible, I'd say. There's probably going to be good 2 weeks of no modding for that one. Yeah. We'll see what other Starfield videos we do in the future, and I'll keep you guys posted. So, yeah, later.